Yo, what is good, everybody? I want to go ahead and break down the Liverpool top 32 nationals. I was going to do this for the American one, but turns out they just turned it on private. I don't know why they did that, but this right here is actually going to be on Organized Play Events Twitch channel. Went ahead and gave them my Prime subscription, so I'm going to go ahead and talk about this game and commentate it. Now, of course, the commentators did a fine job on this. I'm not commentating this because they did a bad job. I just wanted to kind of commentate it and give you guys my own commentary and give you guys my perspective and what I see on these games. So I'm very excited to watch this. And I'm gonna have it on just regular speed because I think that like when it comes to playing games like this, I'd like to have it not so sped through, so we can kind of talk about every play that I see going on, and we can make some reads together. So right off the bat, I do think Reiju is heavily favored in this matchup, not just because they have the same access to some, you know, board spamming options very similar to Doflamingo, but one of their best cards is not targetable with a Gravity Blade Raging Tiger, which is Ichiji, of course. So if you grab, one or two Ichijis, sometimes it's really hard to get them off the board in a timely manner. And if you take a bunch of 7Ks, sometimes you can build up a really big hand, and then they also play Pudding. Now, starting out with the stage is also really bad for the Reiju player, but at least they didn't start off on stage on their first turn, because what could happen is on their first turn they can go stage, and then stage can get them something like Ichiji, and then you can play Porsche on your 3 Dawn turn. Porsche plays Ishiji, and you just go really big. But a 7K into life here, usually you're going to go ahead and take this with a Doflamingo player. Of course, you never want to counter out of your first attack, specifically with Doflamingo, because Doflamingo turns his characters sideways when he plays them from the top of his deck, and when you have a character that's rested, they're not going to be attacking into your life, so you need all the resources from your life, whatever this camera angle is. Oh my god, this is giving me a headache. Now, I haven't seen this game right here. I haven't seen actually any of the Liverpool games. I saw day one, a couple of the games, but I didn't. This is top 32, and we're gonna be going over all of the games together. So I'm pretty excited for this. Starts out with a Perona, which is not exactly what you want to see. This means that he's gonna search the top 5 cards of his life, but this means specifically that you're not gonna play a Jinbei plus preferably a Weevil is what the goal is with Doflamingo on your 4 Dawn turn. If you are forced to go second with Doflamingo, he could be the higher seed, by the way, too, which is why he chose to go second. But I believe Doflamingo now is more of a going second deck with the Jinbei. Um, but this means that this is going to be, I'm sorry, not an 8K into life, a 7K into life with his leader effect, and he's going to go ahead and play a Jinbei. That's totally fine right there. Jinbei is going to go ahead and play something from his, okay, he gets the Weevil right there. So Weevil on play draws a card, and then Jinbei plays a card from a Warlord from the hand. Now, it's kind of a similar play, but the only issue is the Jinbei is rested, so you're giving him a target to attack into. And if you do decide to play the Ichiji, this is a really easy card to kind of pick off, because, with Ichiji, you minus something by 2,000 power. Um, and then you also gain rush. So if you minus the Jinbei down to 3K, this is an easy, just hit over the over the Jinbei with the leader, and then obviously the 7K can go easily into life. But him going 5 into the Jinbei shows you that he's not going to play the Ichiji, because if he did, he'd play the Ichiji first. So this is really telling for the Reiju player how this turn's going to be structured. And Reiju is a little bit of a weird hand, so he's going to go ahead and counter with the Doflamingo, the blocker Doflamingo. That's the special print from, I believe it's set either 6 or 7. It looks really good, by the way. The art looks fantastic. But this is really problematic for Reiju, because Reiju is a kind of it's a combo oriented deck. I don't know what this is right there. Okay, these angles have been crazy, bro, so far. But yeah, Reiju is a very combo oriented deck where it's kind of like Doflamingo, but like way more combo oriented in that way. So for example, like cards like Judge, you need to have all of the babies in the trash, as well as the big uh the Big Daddy Germa Kingdom cards. But with Doflamingo, it's much less combo oriented, because realistically, you either need a Perona or a Doflamingo to stack your deck, or you can just play. You can blind fire off the top of your deck if you're really desperate, or you can play cards from your hand like Jinbei and like Weevil and things like that and still get some value. So like it's just not as combo oriented, because it's pretty much you need one card to like kind of do everything. But this deck right here needs like 2, 3, sometimes 4 cards to kind of get a really good turn off. But this is still pretty good right here. He's going to go ahead and play Reiju, and then he's going to play Niji. Niji's going to go ahead and bounce the Weevil back to hand. Now, while he does get another draw from that, If he decides to play the Weevil again, it is one less attack going into his life, which is ultimately pretty good. This, I believe, is his 6th on turn, so there's no Gravity Blade coming out right here, which would be really good. But a Boa could still be pretty good right here. But looks like he's not going to do that. He's going to debate tapping 4. This could just be a Weevil. If he has another Jinbei, this could be a good play too. Boa wouldn't be bad because it's really hard for well, one, Boa can contest the Ichiji, but two, most Reijus do not play Gravity Blade Raging Tiger, so it's just like something that's going to be really hard for them to get off the board, even with an Ichiji on the following turn if the Boa is rested. Because if the Boa is rested, it becomes a 6k. Oh, a Pudding. Okay, the Pudding is really, really strong here because I don't know how many cards he had, but I'm pretty sure he had, after the Reiju draw plus leader, he drew 3 cards right there. So normally they have like 7 or 8 after that combo right there. So, yeah, the pudding strong here. It is one less big character on the board, and obviously Weevil still is still stuck in hand, of course. But this really hurts the Reiju player because he doesn't have access. He had the Ichiji, and now he no longer has access to the Ichiji. Now he's gonna swing 6 into life right here. This is the strong number right here because you don't, especially with. Okay, so let me say it like this. If your opponent is healthy, attacking 5 and 7 is worse than attacking for 6 and 6, because if you attack for 5 and 7, they're going to take the 7 and then counter out of the 5. But more specifically with Reiju, if they want to discard their babies from their hand, right? Which their babies are all 1k counters. So if that's the case, what's going to happen is if you give them a 5 and a 7, they'll take the 7 gladly, and then with the 5, they'll counter out with an adult or even a baby that they want in the trash that they can later bring back off judge or with the smaller Germa Kingdom card. So it still has access to stage, though. You can't take that away with a Pudding. Stage is going to go ahead and discard a big Reiju and get a little Niji. And Niji, by the way, guys, is the one that bounces a 4 or less or KOs a 2 or less. That's like the goal of it. But he is going to go ahead and play a Porsche. That is not good at all because I do see a baby Ichiji in hand. So Porsche could lead into an Ichiji if they get something. And they also get a 2k as well. Man, that's really good. But yeah, Porsche gets searches the top 5 for a Foxy Pirate, gets a 2k counter, and then can play something with 4,000 power or less. Unrestricted, of course. It doesn't have to play a Foxy Pirate. But he does have access to an Ichiji, but he doesn't have a little Ichiji. Or I'm sorry, a big Ichiji. So this is good that he does play the Niji right here. But I don't think he has. Does he have a big Niji other than the one he has on the field already? I'm not entirely sure. But he's gonna go 5 into something. I think he pointed at the Jinbei, of course. Now I don't really think you save this Jinbei too much, especially if you have Gravity Blade Raging Tiger. Because what he could be doing is he could be swinging into the Jinbei a couple times to try to get him to bait out some counter from his hand, some cards from his hand, and then he's probably just gonna either bounce it back to his hand with the Niji, or just straight up just kill it with like a big attack with Niji as well. Because he still has 2 Dawn up, he could just swing 8 into the Jinbei and get it off the board completely. I think that would be really strong. It just depends on what he wants to do, but him investing heavy counter to protect this Jinbei, I feel like it's just kind of neg. He just wasted 3 cards to protect this Jinbei right here. And while he is playing around Pudding, I don't think this Jinbei is really going to do the job that he really wants it to do. Of course, it can contest the board, which, is at this point the Reiju, the rested Reiju. But with that blocker right there, that's a little bit of a problem. A Gravity Blade would definitely help here. He can go Gravity Blade, target the Porsche, and then the Niji. But he'd only have 1 Dawn left, so he can just swing 5/5/5 into the Reiju and probably get it off the board. But still, like, I don't know. I don't think that's like the best bet right here. But him fanning out his Dawn like this shows you that he probably doesn't have the Gravity Blade Raging Tiger, and the board is getting a little bit overwhelming for the for the Reiju player, and this is without even having an Ichiji on the board, which he has one in hand. He's just waiting to draw the big red Ranger, and if he draws that, it's a little bit of a problem. Now the problem with establishing that blocker is these big attacks. He's gonna swing 6 into the Reiju. He's gonna give him 2Ks, so I'm pretty sure this is into the Reiju and not the Niji, but he's gonna swing 6 into the Reiju probably again. He blocks with Chopper, he taps 4, and he's going to go ahead and probably play the Weevil that he had. Oh, Jinbei plus the Weevil. Okay, this is still pretty good. Jinbei plus Weevil draws a card, but his hand is getting a little thin here. This is probably the point in the game where he is going to lose this Pudding and this Jinbei that is rested, and probably also develop a Niji or I'm sorry, not an Ichiji. Well, he could develop an Ichiji, an Niji as well, depending on if he draws another one. The question is, does he have it? Now he does have access to stage, which is going to search on the top three. But what do you discard here? He has a queen. You normally don't discard queen. He has a Sora in hand. Normally you don't discard 2Ks unless you have an abundance of them. So I'm trying to figure out what he's going to discard. He is going to discard the queen. He is getting a little bit desperate, it looks like, and it looks like he does not find the Red Ranger, the one he wants. He finds a little Red Ranger, but he is not going to find the big guy. And let's see what he does with his Dawn. He has access to a lot of Dawn, funny enough. And this is why normally you don't discard the Queen, is because if you discard the Queen and then you don't find the Red Ranger, then you don't really have a lot of plays in his hand. He has Porsche, it looks like, and then 2 Red Rangers. So realistically, I think it would have been better to discard the Porsche, and then if you do whiff off the Ichiji, it's better to get the Ichiji, to play the Queen, and then use the rest of your Dawn to contest the board. But he's going to swing 7, probably into the Jinbei, because swinging into life would be kind of crazy here. You would just give him more cards to protect his board later on. So this is the time where you want to start clearing board, especially because your hand's getting really thin. You don't have a Reiju in the trash. He's going to give you 2 cards to protect this Jinbei. Going down to 2 cards in hand, I think that's also a huge mistake. I think it's time to let the Jinbei go. He already did his job. I don't think this is the right call. Of course, he is in Nationals, and I'm not, obviously. Like, this is this is the Liverpool Nationals. By the way, I did have my Nats invite. I didn't end up going to this one because I didn't really like the meta for set 7. I thought it was a little bit too dice roll. I'm going to try to go for set 8. Unfortunately, I did already use my Nationals invite on the Dallas one and decided not to go last minute. Also because I have a lot of trips planned later on in this year, and it's just kind of expensive to travel. Between like hotels and flights and things like that. So I ended up not going. He's going to swing 5 into this. So that's why I don't like the saving it from the 7. Because you swing 7 into it and then you save it and then he swings 5 into it and then you just let it go. To me, it just doesn't make a lot of sense. But he has so much extra Dom because he's not going to really play anything. He's going to swing 5 into the pudding. He probably should just let that one go too, because the pudding really isn't going to be able to do a whole lot other than... sorry, it's stream's like lagging a little bit, guys. I'm sorry. But the pudding's not really going to do a whole lot. He's down to 2 cards in hand. I could understand if he has a Kaido in his hand, this would be all actually totally fine to counter down really low. But unless he has a Kaido, I think this is actually a bad play. I think you like starving yourself of resources really early on without a way to get resources back, I think is just really bad, especially when your leader plays characters rested. He's going to swing 5 into life right here. He's going to go ahead and take it. And this is where, like, I think you should have gone down to like 2 life pretty safely. He's going to go ahead and play a Porsche. Porsche is going to Dawn -1, search the top 5, probably try to find him a 2K counter or the chopper, it looks like. He's going to go ahead and probably get the chopper. He's looking in his hand right here. He has 2 Nijis and a Sora, if I remember correctly, and it's probably just going to be the chopper or another Porsche, but I don't think a Porsche would probably be the best bet. The chopper is probably just better because you are getting to a really low hand size, and then your life count is getting to a point where, like, Reiju doesn't really like being at 2 life, like, necessarily. He's going to go ahead and play the chopper over there. That's a really smart play. He's going to play chopper over the Niji, and then Niji is going to play itself back rested, and then he's going to bounce the Weevil back to hand. This is a really, really, really good play. And this is where I think, like I said, the Doflamingo just starts getting really overwhelmed because they have way more board control than the Doflamingo, funny enough. And then the Doflamingo doesn't have a lot of stuff that can actually contest the Reiju board other than just like by battle or Gravity Blade. But Reiju's best card is not able to be targeted by Gravity Blade, especially if they go Judge. Like, Judge is such a like nail in the coffin for a lot of Doflamingo players. Judge is like low-key like a Gecko Moria, and we all know that Doffy loses to Gecko Moria. So we'll see how it goes. We have 4 cards in hand, 10 Dawn for the Doffy player. If he does play Kaido, this is still really bad because he has 4 massive attacks, and there's only a matter of time until he draws the Ichiji from his hand, from his deck. So it's just not looking good for the Doflamingo player. He wasted all those cards to protect a board that got cracked anyway, and I think this is just a losing scenario, a losing strategy. I'm pretty sure probably next turn. I mean, he's been through so much of his deck at this point with draws and searches with the Germa 66 stage, as well as the Porsche, that like he's gonna find the Red Ranger. I didn't even see him bottom deck it either with the Porsches, like the two Porsches that he had. So I think probably next turn it's very likely that this German Kingdom is going to bring a Niji or an Ichiji, and this is going to be huge. Now a Gravity Blade could help a little bit, but it's not going to do a whole lot. You would Gravity Blade probably the Reiju and then the Niji, and then he still has an active Reiju and an active Porsche and a chopper. He's going to go 5 into something. I assume it would be the Porsche because he can just bring back the Reiju. He counters with the Reiju here. He's going to swing 5 into the Porsche probably, countering with the Ichiji. And then this is definitely a Kaido play right here. But man, I do not like this, man. Like, I think this is just a little bit bad. Now, he does establish, he is at 3 life, which isn't bad. And he does draw 4 cards. And he is at, like, I think, like 7 cards or something like that. But the board is so wide that, like, it's a little bit of an issue. Now, he did just counter out with a lot. If he doesn't draw Ichiji, the Red Ranger, this is actually not as great, especially if he can draw into a Gravity Blade, because he can Gravity Blade 2 of the targets, and then with his Kaido, he can take out a 3rd one. So realistically, he can take out like a lot of targets in one turn, depending on what he has. But with the chopper there, it is a little bit of a nuisance because, you know, he can protect something with chopper, and he only has 3 Dawn after the Gravity Blade. So realistically, he's going to either blind fire his leader effect or attack for 8k. And then Reiju is a deck that can counter easily with multiple cards because they can just get him back. Now, right now, he doesn't have access to it. Now, I don't really necessarily agree with him attacking with before he gets cards. But he is going to get ooh, this is really good. So, by the way, guys, I think it's better to play your turn with perfect knowledge on how much you can attack for. So before you attack at all, make sure you use, in my opinion, the stage to discard something to search. Now, the reason that, like, I say it here is because while the play can change depending on the situation, you know there's, like, no way that Jinbei is really surviving. So, like, it's not like you're playing around the Jinbei it's not like you're like changing your play based on if the Jinbei dies. You have so many attacks that, like, there's no way he's saving the Jinbei heavily. So there's nothing that he can get that is going to be that's going to change his play necessarily. In fact, if he gets the Ichiji, I keep saying the wrong one. If he gets the Ichiji, the Jinbei dies even quicker, and you don't have to invest as much Dawn to attack into his Jinbei. So I think that was actually a missequence right there. Of course, like I said, they're in nationals, so these guys are good players. But this is just some things that you can learn from, no matter how good you are at the game. You know, even if you're the best player in the world, I'm sure there's a couple times you make some mistakes where, you know, in retrospect, you can kind of look back at it. I look at, you know, my games all the time and think that same way, and I look at other people's games and I think that. So he's going to attack 6 into life. That's not really a good sign, by the way, because he has a lot of Dawn left. And he can attack for multiple 6s. So depending, like, he might not just have any counter right here. And he's debating heavily on countering this 6 because he probably has 2 1Ks, and he doesn't want to give his opponent knowledge that he only has 1Ks because he's going to take a lot of life this game. Like a lot of life. Sorry if you hear my chair squeaking. But if he doesn't have 2Ks, this is really bad. He's going to give his opponent knowledge that he doesn't have it, and him taking this also gives his opponent knowledge that he doesn't have any 2Ks as well. He goes ahead and triggers, it looks like a Red Rock or a Gravity Blade Raging Tiger. I think it's a Red Rock from, like, the corner, and you're definitely going to use it. Probably, it's a Gravity Blade. I was going to say on the I was just going to say the chopper, because funny enough, while he can attack, I think he might try to go for game here. Funny enough, like, that's a crazy situation, but he might try to go for game here because he's, like, in a really bad spot. Now, if he doesn't have a lot of counter, that is probably the right call. But, like, for you to go for game against him, he has 2 life, so all of your attacks have to connect, which is a big problem. Now, if you're not going for game, I think you probably should have just used it because the bottom deck's a 5 cost or less. You probably should have used it on the Reiju, so you can take less attacks this turn. I'm not entirely sure, like, why he chose the chopper right there. The chopper is literally only there in case he goes for game. But I don't think he's going for game this turn because he would have to attack with Perona, and he has, like, too many cards to, like, realistically go for game between his 2 life and Doffy. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, to, like, get Perona to, like, a respectable number, you have to invest at least 5 Dawn on her. But realistically, you want to put her at, like, 9k, but if you put her at 9k, you don't have enough to go 9 with your leader. So like you're attacking like 8k and hoping he doesn't have it, and then 9k hoping he doesn't have it, and then 12k. And I just don't think that's really a winning strategy either. Um, he does search for his Sora off of the Germa 66, which is not good as the Doflamingo player. He's going to take his very last life with this 6k, and that's a problem. I think, by the way, I'm sorry, I forgot to say this, right? I didn't realize, but that Reiju right there is actually was played this turn. So realistically, you probably should have just taken out the Niji with the Gravity Blade. But he does not have a lot of counter in hand. He just took two 6k attacks, and while he does have like 9 cards, I don't think any of them realistically have a lot of counter. Maybe he has a bunch of 1ks. I'm not sure. He has another Kaido in hand. He knows, like I know for a fact, but one of these characters is for sure getting off the board. This Porsche probably getting off the board. He's gonna play Pudding, and he's gonna, bro. Is he gonna go for game with the Pudding? Like, that is crazy to me. That is absolutely unreal. There's no way that he's played Pudding right there. He only had 5 cards in hand. So I'm not sure what he's doing, but he's probably just playing Pudding and just hoping he draws like a bunch of dead cards. And then he might just go for game right here. This would be an absolutely crazy game 1 if he gets this. Because he only has 6 Dawn left. So realistically, he has to, like, splitting 6 Dawn between Perona and Doflamingo. 2 Dawn on Doflamingo puts him at 7, so you only have 4 left. So you have to go like 6k, 7k, 12k, and just hope that connects. That's not good. And look at him separating his Dawn too. This is not good. He's desperate. He knows he has to go for it. He's gonna go 6 into life, and then if he has a 2k, he literally automatically wins. The Reiju player, of course, he's gonna go ahead and take this, and then he's gonna swing 7, and then does he have it? I don't know, bro. 7 into life. He's got the Sora. He's got the, okay, he's got it. Yeah. And then he just goes for, yeah, that's it right there. Wow, what a game 1 that was. Jeez, man, that was actually really fun. We're gonna keep watching. We're gonna watch the whole best of 3, and then we're gonna watch the best of 3. We'll probably upload all of the matches over the next couple days, just so I can have something to post. I've been really inactive for a while because I haven't really felt like the inspiration to post anything, because there hasn't really been like a whole lot that, like, I don't know, has like inspired me, I guess. But I really like watching competitive games, especially nationals, and I think with national season coming up, it's like already here. If I can get the replays for all the games, that would be a lot of fun to kind of go over. Maybe I can get Small Hat Chris or VV Theory, or maybe any of my other friends to hop on the video and we can do some dual commentary. I'll actually text VV Theory after this, see if he wants to do another one. But yeah, we'll go ahead and skip around real quick. Actually, we'll skip to the match. So looks like we're gonna back up just a little bit, guys. My fault. Yeah, so we'll back up to this. Basically, Germa Kingdom discards an Ichiji, or a baby Ichiji, to search for something. Perona on his second turn. So yeah, Doflamingo does choose to go second, because whoever was the higher seed, they're both 8 and 2, but whoever is the higher seed chooses. So the Doflamingo went second for game 1, and then he chose to go second game 2 after he lost. So I assume that the Doflamingo is the higher seed, and he does get to choose. Now, he does have, looks like Mihawk, Gravity Blade coming up, looks like a Jinbei coming up as well. So it looks like he's going to have a very similar play to his to game 1. There's no way the Reiju can possibly draw as bad as they did in the beginning. So I do think this game is easily in Reiju's favor, and it might be a swift 2-0 for the Reiju player. Nothing against the Doflamingo player, of course. It's just a bad matchup overall. It's not unwinnable, but it's favored in my opinion. It's probably like a 65-35 in Reiju's favor. I do think the Doflamingo made some mistakes countering early that could have saved him later on, because he ran out of counter at the end right there. Protecting the, what is it called? I gotta put some lotion on my elbows. They're a little ashy. Man, I used to have really ashy elbows actually when I was in like elementary school and like middle school, and I was like, why are my elbows so like, bro, like it was like sandpaper. And then when I put lotion on one day, I was like, holy shit, like is this what it's is this what it feels like to have like normal elbows? Yeah, so same play, swing 7, Doffy takes it, plays the Jinbei. Jinbei's gonna play something, probably the Weevil if he has it. Weevil, draw a card, good. Yep. Literally the exact same play as game 1. If you guys were, not paying attention, you would think that you accidentally restarted the video. If you want to give me that ad revenue, please go ahead and do that, man. That'd be totally fine. Rewatch this video as many times as you guys want to do that. But he's gonna go ahead and discard. There's a glare on the screen. Picks up a big Reiju. And draw Reiju. Discards the Red Ranger. That's not a good sign because he has the Ichiji in hand, but he is going to play the Porsche. Oh my goodness, this is so devastating. This is a 7/7 going into something, but he does have access to Ichiji. So Ichiji is going to minus the Jinbei down to 3k. So he's going to swing into the, what is it called? He's going to swing into the Jinbei for 5k probably, and then uses 2 Dawn maybe to play a baby Reiju. I'm not sure if you'll get your draw or not, though, but if he does play the baby Reiju, that'd be insane. If he has it with the 2 Dawn, he has extra. Him not attaching Dawn will tell us something, though. He either is going to play baby Reiju or he's going to play stage. He's not entirely sure. 5 more than likely into the Jinbei, of course, the Jinbei being at 3k. If he saves this, I think this is a massive mistake. I don't think saving the Jinbei here actually matters at all, and this is what got him in trouble. The first game is just him losing a bunch of counter to protect something that doesn't actually stick to the board. It doesn't look like he has the baby Reiju, though, so he's going to swing 7 into life, and then I think you should definitely counter this to play around a pudding, but he's going to go ahead and take it. I don't know if this is open deckless or not, or if he knows he doesn't play pudding. If he knows he doesn't play pudding, because we haven't seen it yet, I don't think. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, but if he doesn't play pudding in the Reiju list, then there's not really there's not a huge reason to counter out of this one right here, but you don't want to under counter and you don't want to over counter, and that's the hard part about this game, is like really valuing your resources, because you only have 5 cards from your life to really get you from the beginning of the game to the end of the game, and you have to distribute those 5 cards from your characters to your board. Your characters to your life, right? So like sometimes you have to protect characters, sometimes you have to protect your life, and you have to kind of ration it out pretty well. So if you go down too early, they can just completely ignore your characters and then pressure down your life. But if you don't take life at all, they can starve you out of resources and clear your board. So it's smart that he let the Jinbei die. I'm not entirely sure just yet if it was smart to take that 7k hit. Only time will tell. But the last 2 Dawn he used to search for some cards. He's going to go ahead and play Boa. Boa is probably going to go ahead and freeze the Niji? What is it called? Guys, I cannot say I cannot say this card. Ichiji, the Red Ranger. And it's good to establish it, by the way. But he is going to find a Reiju. He already has a baby Reiju either in hand or in the trash already. I don't remember. Looks like it's in the trash already. He does discard a big Red Ranger from his hand. He has a little Red Ranger. I think he only has 5 Dawn at his disposal, though, so he's going to swing 5, 6, 7 into definitely the Weevil until the Weevil dies, and then he's going to go into life. Now, the Weevil is at 4, so a 6 is going to easily go over this Weevil and probably kill it, and then he just has to counter out of a 5, and then he might have to take the 7, or he's going to counter out of the 7 depending on what his hand is. But this is where like Gravity Blade really doesn't matter right here. It sucks because like blue just does not have an answer for anything more than like 6 costs, like realistically, because no one plays Mihawk, right? Especially because this deck wants to go second now. You mainly play Kaido. But based on his hand right here, he just has a bunch of little guys, and attacking into the 7k, especially against the deck that plays a bunch of counter, isn't great. It ain't great. Weevil's going to go down. He's going to go ahead and swing 5 into life right here. This is an easy counter, probably with the Gecko right there for sure. 7 into life. You probably counter this one too. If it were me, bro, I think I'd spend this entire turn getting rid of... he's going to take the 7 right here. This is bad. And then another 7. Okay, yeah, it got stunned. I was going to say, damn, I didn't even remember that there's a second Ichiji on the board. But if it were up to me, I'd spend most of my turn trying to clear the sideways. Honestly, low-key, it kind of hurt him to have to stun the Ichiji, because this is the turn where you'd want to clear both of them. He already used 2 of his Ichijis right here. He does have a Sora in hand that can bring it back, but like it's kind of negative because you have to discard a card. And while obviously Dawn minusing 1 when you play the Niji, I'm so fucking sorry, guys. The Ichiji it does draw you a card off leader effect. It's still kind of negative, and I don't really think it's the best play. But man, this sucks. Going 7 into something, probably more than likely the Porsche. 7 into the Porsche, not using his leader effect. There's no way he's going 7 into the Niji right here. I think that's a mistake. Does he counter to save the Porsche though? Probably not, because he wants to save the Ichiji. He wants to save the Red Ranger. He is going to have to invest a lot of Dawn to protect the Red Ranger. I'm sorry, a lot of cards to protect the Red Ranger. He has a 2K and two 1Ks in hand. He has Baby Reiju, he knows for a fact, and he doesn't know anything else in the opponent's hand, unless he did search stage off stage, but I don't think he saw that he searched. I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong. I wasn't paying attention. Maybe I was talking about my elbows at that point. But, he's going to go into life. Oh my God, that's crazy, bro. I did not expect that. I think going into life is a huge, huge risk here. This board is getting very tall. Not just wide, but also very tall. It looks like he revealed the Reiju. No trigger there, of course. He's going to go 8 into life here. He's going to go ahead and take that one too. I think this is crazy. He's going to go into another Boa. And then Boa is going to stun the active Ichiji. And I don't know, bro. Like, what is that the strategy? Okay, so I will say I do think it's more important to contest Reiju's life rather than characters. But like, if you're not close, I don't like if you're already too low. It is kind of scary to not contest characters at all because you can just keep going like 7s into life. And you're gonna have to discard a lot of cards here. And he has a lot of Dawn left. He has 7 Dawn left, but a 5 into life is definitely kind of letting the Doffy off the hook a little bit. After that kind of greedy play, he's gonna go ahead and counter with the Perona. He's gonna give him another 5. Is this a judge play? Did he just draw into the judge? 6 cards right here. How much Dawn does he have? Does he have 6 or does he have 8? I wonder why he's not going taller. Because if it were me, I would develop a board. For example, like I would develop like a Niji or a Queen or something like that, and use the rest of my Dawn to attack into his life, right? So if he does have 6 or 7 Dawn, it looks like he has like one of those two. It looks like 6. Then you can go 5, 6, and then 7 into life. Or what you can do is you can play a Niji for 3 Dawn, and then you can use the rest of your 3 Dawn that you have to attack for 6, 7, and then another 7 into life. Make him discard a bunch of cards and still develop a really big body. Not really big considering it's just a 6K, but it's still a decent body on top of applying a lot of pressure and making him get rid of a bunch of cards. So you put him on a little bit of a clock here. But again, this is another one of those times where he keeps attacking before he uses his stage, and the stage can give him more information on if he has a better play or not. I think that's a big mistake right there, and I don't think people value like the knowledge that you get from using stage, because if he gets another, for example, Ichiji right here, he can be very aggressive without really being too concerned about dying on the previous turn, because he can turn the Boa into a 6K. He's going to go ahead and play Queen. Queen's going to Dawn -1. He's going to draw 3 cards off the Queen, but he's going to have to discard 1. He does have a dead card, though, in the stage discard. He's probably going to go ahead and discard that one unless he wants to play it with the extra Dawn that he has. Looks like he doesn't want to do that. He still hasn't tapped his stage yet. I think this is a big mistake. He just doesn't tap the stage at all. Discarding 1. I mean, because you can discard a 1K and try to find a 2K, especially because this guy's probably going to go for game this turn, more than likely. If he does play the Diable Jumble, the Perfume Femur, he does have to block with his Queen kind of early. But he does have to invest a lot of Dawn into it, though. He does have a lot of cards in hand. Sorry, I said does a lot. He has a lot of cards in hand. He has basically 3 big attacks. He has 1, and the Reiju has 1 blocker and 1 life. So if he's smart, he's going to play around the Diable Jumble by blocking like a 9K from the Boa. And then he basically just has to counter 1 9K or an 11K from the other Boa. And then at that point, if he attacks for 11K and 9K, he'd use 4 Dawn. So he just has to counter out of an 11K from the Doflamingo with like a bunch of cards in hand. I'm sorry. Actually, at that point, he only has to counter out of a 9K or an 11K one time with that many cards in hand, which it looks like he is able to do. Looks like he has a Sora, a bunch of 1Ks, and he might have like that 2K counter. Is it the Gone or whatever? The Foxy Pirate 2K counter. And that's not great. He's going to tap 7, though, and going to play Gravity Blade Raging Tiger. That is not bad at all. I think this is actually starting to look pretty decent for the what's it called player? The Doflamingo player, because if he goes 11 into the Ichiji, This is pretty good. Um, or unless you go, I would probably just go 9-9 into the Ichiji or 9-10 into the Ichiji and then swing 5 into life. I think that's probably just like a better bet than just an 11 because I think 9-9 warrants more cards because you go 9, they give you 2 cards. You go 9 again, they give you 2 cards, whereas 11 is just 3 cards. So yeah, 9-9 into the Ichiji and then, or I'm sorry, 9-10 into the Ichiji and then 5 into life, I feel like is the better call. If he saves the Ichiji 2 times, then he does basically drain his entire hand and is probably going to die next turn. The question is, if he saves the Ichiji, will the Doflamingo die on the next turn as well? Because he only has 1 life left, and I don't know how many cards he has, but he's definitely gonna like he'll have a 7/7 in his leader, and if he has an access to another Ichiji, that's not good. Like that's multiple 7s going at you, and with only 1 life left, you don't really have a lot of buffer. Now I know Doffy does have a decent amount of counter in hand. I did see like I think at least 2 2Ks, but I didn't pay attention to what else he has in there, so it could be a little bit dangerous. Definitely starting out with 9 though. 7 is not the right call at all. I think 7's a really bad call going into life. Because this, like, unless he's not concerned at all with the amount of Dawn that the Reiju player is gonna have, like, unless he like did the math and already figured out that the Reiju player can't kill him, then I think swinging into his life is just not a good call at all. He's gonna go 8 into life right here. No way he takes this, right? Well, yeah, he's going to take this because he can easily counter out. And then he's going to go 9 into life, and he's just going to counter out of this one right here. He's going to go, wait, is he going to counter out? This is 7, or 5, oh, I'm sorry, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay. Wait, did he win that? Did he win that? I don't know. Like, wait, am I tripping? Hold on. He attacks 9 into life. He goes 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And does he scoop? No way. Does he scoop? Hold on. It looked like, oh, I guess he did. Oh my god. Yeah, guys, that's the end of that one, I guess. We'll we'll go to the top 16, I guess. Wow. That was a crazy turn of events right there. Okay. Yeah. See ya.